The end of an era is upon us, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to even call this an era anyways. What is up, everybody? This is Jay, aka MultimediaJay, coming at you once again from Jay's Geek House. This is probably one of the earliest streams I've ever done. Look at all that sunlight. Now I have sunlight in addition to the blue and purple in the color scheme coming in through the curtains and things along those lines. And this is the part where somebody would be off in the corner, be like, well, you wonder why nobody watches your streams? That's because you don't have a streaming schedule. You stream at all different times, and you expect an audience. The heck's your problem, man? Catch me if you can. It is true, though. That's one of the weaknesses of live streaming, is the time sensitivity of it and being tied to a time slot. But absolutely, this is 100% the sort of thing that you got to keep in mind when you get into streaming. You're not really getting into YouTubing. If anything, there's a very good case to be made that streaming is essentially fake YouTubing. It's not really the same as making vlogs. At least if I were making a vlog, I could sit in front of a camera for 10 minutes and talk about how my day went or something, then put it on YouTube, and people can watch it whenever. There's just all this extra baggage the minute you go live. Yes, I did take down the Christmas decorations, by the way. It is January. So what I'm thinking of doing is so-called Christmas trees that run off of fiber optics and 5 volts on USB are basically going to be, they're going to be my nerd houseplants during the rest of the year. You know, if you would have like a fake houseplant, then why not have something like that where you switch to dark mode and it lights up because the fiber optics get turned on, because you use a combination of adapters and smart plugs to basically make the fiber optics turn on when you have your house in dark mode like what I have right now, although it's not dark outside, so it's not really working all that well for dark mode. So at 3 o'clock, you're actually going to see the purple disappear, because that's the shut-off time. 20 minutes, and then the purple will shut off. Usually it's the other way around. Like, I'll turn the plant light back on, and a little early to stream, or it'll turn back on in the middle of the stream when we clear 11 o'clock at night. But that's the 8 hours of darkness for the houseplant, which isn't doing very well, but the fern is a perennial, so at some point I imagine it's going to die back to ground level and then pop back up a couple of weeks later. I might as well just say, stop trying to grow all these outdoor plants and just get a hosta like so many other folks. So, yes, end of an era. Here is the Samsung 970 EVO 1TB M2 SSD that I want to run the system off of. So, if there's nothing good on tonight, around, say, sunset or so, when I'm done making the spin-off video for this stream, what I'm going to do is I'm going to shut everything down, and then it's going to be a fresh install of Windows 10. I'm going to unplug the power to the current system drive, which is a serial ATA SSD. I'm going to unplug the power to the current system drive, and what I'm going to do is set up fresh Windows 10, set up my account, get everything going, and if I need my old computer, quote-unquote, all I have to do is turn off the power and just change the power plugs around so the old drive is plugged in or something. Well, I'll just plug the old drive back in and select it as a boot device from the boot menu. So, but the bottom line is I want to set up Windows 10 fresh with no power to the drive, the old drive, so it doesn't show up or anything. Then we just plug it back in and make it a data drive to go grab all the stuff from the profile off of. So it's one of those things where you redo computers long enough and you get used to this new world we live in, where you're not sitting there anymore with a mountain of CD-ROMs reinstalling all your programs, because so many apps these days are based on cloud services. It really takes a lot of the tedium out of this, plus faster internet to download everything. So patching the system will probably not take anywhere near as long as it did last time. And getting everything installed won't take as long either. Can't imagine it'll be too much of an issue. I just wanted to get this done on a vacation, so if something does go wrong, it's not a situation where I don't have email and, you know, work gets too busy and I don't have time to really look at this kind of stuff. But it's the end of an era, because I've decided that this is going to be the last stream that I make a spin-off video for. There's a couple of things that are in play when it comes to live streaming. One of them I refer to as the VCR effect. And what that is, and this is something that these Twitch streamers barfing VODs onto YouTube are going to find out the hard way. The VCR effect, named after, of course, VCRs, that thing, that device in the 80s that liberated television audiences from having to watch TV live because they can just tape the show. of which DVR is descended from and DVR services descended from. But the VCR effect is what I used to refer to people having a perfectly legitimate reason never to watch your streams. Why? Because I don't need to. It's going to be available to watch later. So if you're not doing a hangout stream or you're hanging out chilling, and by the way, people don't have a reason to join your little internet party. If you're doing something like what I do, you have a perfectly valid reason to just wait until it becomes after the fact content and then listen to it later. And in the case of hybrid streaming, like what I do most of the time, because I don't hardly have any concurrence, I actually am doing this on purpose with the explicit intent of there being an audience that watches after the fact. So, recently I've been doing some experimenting because I know YouTube has two different systems for live versus videos. The video system is more mature and developed, and the video system is basically in better shape in terms of things like demonetization and things like that. So, what we have to consider with all of this is that YouTube's streaming service is a work in progress. So, the way that you approach streaming, if you keep an eye on this stuff, will change as you learn more. Considering what we went over in the React segment yesterday with that video with Rachel from Creator Insider, the next step, and this is something I've been experimenting with, is to take stream replays, turn them private, because there's a ton of extra processing and whatnot that goes on behind the scenes. And then see if it's monetizable after the fact. Because what I've run into consistently is that small streamers always get demonetized. It's like 2017 all over again. You breathe wrong, and you get demonetized. But let's be realistic here. When you talk about monetization on a stream on YouTube, you're really talking about whether or not you want to run ads. And the number one complaint about running ads on a live stream is, I don't want to miss key moments when they happen, because the streamer was running ads. That's why, despite Twitch's attempts to get streamers to run ads with that turning off pre-rolls thing, I still, when streaming on Twitch, will largely reserve the ad breaks when I'm actually taking a break from the stream. Because that's the only time where your audience can know for certain that they're not going to miss anything. Just watch the timers, make sure you don't start up again until everything's stopped on their end. But with my experience last night, between Tyongi messing with her computer, Minx's 24-hour stream with her dance party, and all the other streams that were going on around that time, with everything that happened last night, I observed that there's less pre-rolls on Twitch right now. I don't know if it's because they ran out of inventory or something like that, or they're trying to make the experience friendlier for people watching, including people that are new to the platform that might just stop watching Twitch entirely if they see too many ads. There's this tug-of-war at Twitch with trying to pay the bills, just like every other platform out there, including YouTube. But the current setup for Twitch encourages streamers to run their own mid-rolls to turn off pre-rolls. But even the infamous pre-rolls that destroy the ability to channel flip on Twitch have been absent lately. I don't know if Twitch is trying to refine the system so you actually can channel flip and watch multiple streams or whatnot and discover new streamers that way without getting a pre-roll ad that ruins your first impression of what could otherwise be a up-and-coming streamer on the platform. I don't know if Twitch is trying to work off of some of this feedback that people are giving about the ad experience and just how completely unpopular their recent mid-roll experiment was. But the experience on Twitch has been pretty decent lately. Still get some ads from ad breaks, still get some pre-rolls here and there, but just the ability to channel flip on Twitch, that's fun, actually. Especially if you follow multiple streamers and you might want to sub to them, or cheer them or something like that. I've noticed there's a lot less pre-rolls than there normally is. I don't know if that's a mistake or Twitch is trying something out in terms of leaving money on the table in order to get more people interested in watching Twitch. But since the argument is about running ads during a stream, the number one complaint is, I don't want to miss a key moment in the stream because the streamer was running ads. or the platform ran ads in the case of Twitch's forced mid-roll experiment. I don't want to be missing key moments in the stream. So here's the situation. Think about, for example, if you monetize for the long term on YouTube, because YouTube is good at evergreen stuff. If you monetize with the long haul in mind, when are you going to want to run the ads? On the after the fact, the replay of the stream, or the highlights you create from it. You don't want to run them during the stream. Because when you think about the VCR effect, and by the way, monetization is off for this stream, but I will not have a replay until I can turn it on. Because a lot of the arguments that people might have regarding ads on a stream are completely moot by the time you're watching it after the fact. You're essentially, if you watch this after the fact, watching a YouTube video. And at that point, standard YouTube rules apply. But I don't think the pennies that you receive for ad impressions, if you're a smaller streamer, make running ads worth it versus the negative effect, even with a skip button, of people bouncing. About the only thing that YouTube could do to improve things is allow on-demand ad breaks like Twitch does. So when you walk away from your stream and whatnot, like, okay, YouTube, pay some bills, I'm going to be back in 5 minutes, 5-minute ad break. Stuff like that. That's one of the things I think Twitch does better than YouTube. Likewise, Twitch also does the things better than YouTube by clamping down on the lengths of the ads and selling them in fixed blocks, instead of this problem which someone gave me a like on my response on a comment on another CI video, where they're talking about this whole situation with ads and with ads on YouTube and skippable ads allowing people to hijack the video you want to watch by sending YouTube videos through the ad system. Glad people are agreeing with me on that. So let's talk about success. Success as a streamer... Well, no, let's just finish this up here. So here's the plan. For streaming on YouTube, monetization off, because just about everything gets demonetized anyways. And the thing is, though, once the stream is done processing to the point where you can add an end screen, usually it switches over to the upload thing. So since it's so quick to make a spin-off video if that doesn't work out, here's the plan. Stream, ads are off. Everybody who tunes in live gets the ad-free experience, and that's a reward for tuning in when the stream's actually happening. It encourages people to watch when live. And in the after-the-fact crowd, standard YouTube rules will apply. We'll lock everything down until the processing is complete. So there'll be a time delay, and there will be other stuff as well. There'll be a time delay, and then there'll be ads. So this very sternly, I mean, it does recreate in some cases, because of the slow processing time, the 24-hour rule like on Twitch, where if you send something from Twitch to YouTube as an affiliate or a partner, it cannot be available on YouTube less than 24 hours after it broadcasts on Twitch. And that's the end of the broadcast, by the way. So it does recreate that time period, but at the same time, it gives people a compelling reason to watch you live, because they'll get the information first by a substantial amount of time, and they'll get to view it ad-free, as opposed to after the fact, where it basically converts into a YouTube video, and anything that's spun off of a stream or whatnot that gets converted into a YouTube video. So in the interest of blunting the VCR effect, as well as giving people a reason to watch my streams live instead of waiting for the video to come out, we'll do no monetization, because you can't get any anyways as a small streamer. Not on YouTube. And even if monetization were enabled, that's what for ad impressions. What makes the piddly ad revenue add up on YouTube is the ad impressions, because people are watching after-the-fact content that's browsable, searchable, and the algorithms pass it around. If you don't have that, you're probably gonna... The only option available for you as a small channel is just making more videos. That's actually been the strategy of small YouTube channels for years. They make a decent amount of ad revenue by just making a ton of content that makes like 50 cents a month or something, and it eventually adds up, because make your channel more binge watchable, make people want to watch more of your stuff. They do binge watch, and they do hit skip on the ads and whatnot, and you do eventually add things up to a number that's decent enough passively without you having to do anything. in order to finance things like tech upgrades, better equipment, things along those lines without spending your own money. That's been a strategy for small YouTube channels for years. So because the current setup, this will be the last stream that gets a spin-off video, because it's the last stream I really have any time sensitivity on. For any other discussions, we'll just record, we'll just wait until it finishes processing, then if it's demonetized, then make a spin-off video. And we'll continue tracking this, as well as keeping an eye on how YouTube makes this system work better if they decide to fix this. Just, it's all part of learning and experimenting, and so I know what I'm talking about, because I'm actually working with the numbers, the analytics, the systems, the technology. And this is precisely the reason why these multimedia meta discussions are under science and technology, because streaming is technology. These platforms are a form of technology. And quite frankly, keeping an eye on how they compete with each other is often a difference in terms of technology. YouTube Content ID versus Twitch not having Content ID is a discussion about technology. So, despite people not watching these things, they're tech videos. Surprise! It's like I said, you know, the people that are giving me a hard time about tech videos, they're not giving me a hard time about tech. They don't want to see tech videos. They want to see me kill my channel by making the same old stuff over and over again. It's just the thing. Now, let's talk about this success thing now. So that's what's next. I'm going to install this SSD. And it's end of an era, because I bought my first SSD in 2011, Serial ATA. And here I am installing my first M2 in 2021. So maybe there'll be some new technology in 2031 that we can move on to in another 10 years. But I was waiting for this technology to be more competitively priced. So Samsung 970 EVO 1 terabyte to match the EVO drive that I'm currently running the system with. That's Serial ATA. We'll see what we get for throughput as well. And it'll be a perfect opportunity to install a fresh copy of Windows 10 and maybe fix some of these gremlins that have been popping up with apps not working right anymore. Forza Horizon 4 won't install. If I'm using MP4s in the video editor, they don't render correctly and I get phantom syllables, things like that. It'll be good to see how many of these problems are solved just by being able to redo Windows from scratch, essentially. I've been blowing off redoing Windows from scratch and not using Windows 10 Reset, specifically because I've been planning for a long time to move to M2. I was just waiting for the price to be right. So at this point, I missed the Christmas sales for electronics, so whatever, man. I'm not waiting until December again, just because I was too busy around Christmas to really keep an eye on the hardware prices. And plus, we don't want a natural disaster or something. Like maybe if Korea gets a typhoon during the summer and it affects Samsung or whatever. I don't think these things are actually made in Korea. But you remember what happened with the Thailand floods with the price of hard drives once upon a time. We don't want a situation like that to come up later, and I'm sorry I didn't get it. So, all right, so that's what's going on. There's a couple of things. I'm going to shut the computer down for a couple hours to get this straightened out, bring things back online, set everything back up, and if I need something from the old drive, I literally just apply power to the old SSD, and it works again. It's a cool setup, and it'll finally upgrade me to M2 and the higher throughputs that not being bottlenecked by the Serial ATA bus has been bringing to SSDs for years. Although, quite frankly, 500 throughput, 500 megabytes per second has been pretty cool. Certainly an improvement from the hundreds that I used to get with hard drives. But the best hard drives nowadays do 200 on a consistent basis for sequential reads and writes. And Windows 10, there's actually very active disk management in Windows 10, evolved from Windows 7 to make hard drives actually work better by constantly maintaining the drives instead of you having to manually defrag them and things along those lines. So, some technological improvements there. All right, so let's talk about this whole idea of success as a streamer. Success as a streamer is subjective. So, a lot of what I've been seeing, and ironically, it's from people that are not growing, which we talked yesterday about. If your channel, first of all, I've said for a long time that the whole idea of if your channel isn't growing, it's dying, is wrong. Because that's the kind of binary mentality that means that you will never be happy with where you get, if anywhere, on any of these platforms. You'll never be happy. Now, here's a problem with the whole if your channel isn't growing, it's dying mentality. If you have 20 concurrents as a Twitch affiliate, but you are upset that you don't have 200 concurrents as a Twitch partner, or 2,000 concurrents, that's a better number. If you're a 20 concurrent Twitch affiliate and you are upset that you don't have 2,000 concurrents on Twitch as a partner, and you're not partnered, what that says to your audience is that those 20 people who are watching you instead of anybody else who's broadcasting at the same time don't matter to you. You're disrespecting your audience. And every single person who does start watching you until you hit 2,000 concurrents is going to be the exact same way. You're sending a message that you disrespect not only your current audience, and heck, maybe they shouldn't watch you if that's your attitude towards them, but you also disrespect your future audience until your arbitrary goal is met and you have your 2,000 concurrents. That's a disgusting, disgusting attitude. But little do people realize that that's exactly the message that they're sending when they cry about their concurrence. This is one of the reasons why I agree with YouTube's decision to not focus on concurrence on the platform. Not for becoming a YouTube partner, not for streaming, not for anything. And I hope they stay that way. Because when you care more about numbers than people, that's a problem. And it leads to even more problems as well. So think about that for a second. You have 20 concurrents, you're not satisfied until you hit 2,000 concurrents. It's like that thing from The Crucible. If you ever read Arthur Miller's allegory about 1950s Red Scare stuff set in the days of the Salem witch trials. There's a wild and crazy preacher at the church in that story, Sam Parris. Now, the settlers in the settlement that came over from England and whatnot built the church with pewter candlesticks. Not good enough for the preacher. He preached fire and brimstone until they were gold candlesticks at the altar. Remember that line specifically from the play. Reading the play for myself as a sophomore in high school. The pewter candlesticks were cool, but they weren't good enough. They were actually made by a local artisan. Not good enough for this preacher. He insisted on gold and preached fire and brimstone until he got it. That's what I'm thinking of in terms of the message you send when you don't think you're doing well enough and you start getting upset about it because you're a 20 concurrent affiliate instead of a 2,000 concurrent partner. And how do you think you're going to get to 2,000 concurrents if you're being disrespectful to your audience right out of the gate? Because you're sending a message that everybody who's watching you isn't good enough. So why should people even watch you? Why should you grow? You're being disrespectful right from the get-go. Who should watch you? Who should care about you? And again, here we go. We're asking demographics questions already. I see a lot of these YouTube channels that talk about growing your stream or stream growth tips and stuff. Is growth really your goal? If you end up with an audience of 2,000 concurrents who don't have any money, so nobody subs to you, are you going to be happy? When you were inspired by watching these successful streamers with 2,000 concurrents who had the donos going off every 2 seconds. And from their sub revenue alone, they don't need a real job. They blow away what most people make with regular jobs. So you get your 2,000 concurrents, but they're not helping you in any way on the money side. Are you going to be happy? Probably not. So when people talk about who's successful, and this is, again, I'm old, right? I'm a grumpy old guy on YouTube, been a YouTuber since 2006, just using the platform recreationally, so the only growth I've had is something I've done zero effort to do. I've never actually tried to grow my channel. The thousands of subs I've gotten over the years is the result of people just clicking when they wanted to. No gimmicks, no crying, no screeching to like every single video. Just if they like it, they like it. The way it should be, I imagine, if you want any of your numbers to have any integrity. But here's the thing. I'm a grumpy old guy. Part of what that means is that I see things on Twitch that I've already seen before on YouTube. And this overemphasis on numbers as some kind of measurement of success is one of them. How about those people with way more subscribers than you that egg you because you should listen to me and let me insult you because I have 50,000 subscribers and you don't. Yeah, that bad attitude. You know what it takes to get a subscriber on YouTube? Someone likes you and clicks a button. The end. They never have to do anything ever again, but you still have that subscriber. Oh, and by the way, the older your channel gets, the more attrition there's going to be that causes a growing gap between subscribers and views. Which is why I talked yesterday about this idea that if your channel isn't, number one, the idea of if your channel isn't growing, it's dying, is wrong because it's a false dilemma, logical fallacy, too binary of a way of thinking. It's also wrong because your channel that's not growing, or you're not growing your stream or whatever, you are growing, but not enough to offset the attrition from that happens anyway. So, yes, platforms should help creators grow an audience because that's how they become successful, as evidenced by YouTube. YouTube is, and has built itself up on, the idea of a nobody becoming a somebody. YouTube has built itself up on that. That is why YouTube is what it is. The prospect exists that you can make something that people grow to love and appreciate, and you grow that way. If you don't have that, you have Daily Motion. And let me tell you a few things about Daily Motion. Let's go there right now. DailyMotion.com, the home for videos that matter. The site is already muted. Good. So I go in, I'm on the featured tab on Dailymotion. Not going to show any of this because it's technically naming and shaming. Don't want to show any of this stuff. But let me just look at something here that should be popular. How about something with TV and celebrities? Sarah Jessica Parker, Cynthia Nixon, and Kristen Davis to star in Sex and the City revival for HBO Max. From People's channel on Dailymotion. It's been on the platform for about a day. It's featured on the front page. It only has just shy of 2,000 views. Earlier, it was closer to 1,000. So people are watching now during the day, and it jumped it up a few hundred more views because it's been on the front page. But you're talking about the premiere featured content on Dailymotion, what should be the biggest videos, that because they're in the featured section, 2,000 views. I remember when that number was 5,000 views. This is, how about Alabama winning the national championship over Ohio State? Sports Illustrated, 13 hours ago, 1,500 views. Featured content on the front page of Dailymotion. That is what going all commercial will do to your platform. Now, you consider Dailymotion, once upon a time, before Vivendi bought it, was the backup video site for so many YouTubers, myself included. And there were situations where people got mad at YouTube and they left and went to Dailymotion for a while before coming back. Then Vivendi buys Dailymotion and they redesign the site so that all of the YouTube competitor content, stuff you and I would make, is considered UGC, user-generated content, which is walled off from any kind of discoverability versus commercial content, because the brass that took over Dailymotion decided to focus on content from commercial partners, which is why you can go to Dailymotion and you will see, let me just go right back there. Dailymotion, what's featured? Stuff from People Magazine, CNN, Entertainment Weekly, Brute America, Cosmo, Teen Vogue, Voyeur, what the heck? I don't even know how to say that. World News from Pennsylvania Media, the Financial Times, CNN International, Sports Illustrated. Hey, let me look up Among Us, that popular game on Twitch. I'm going to look it up on Dailymotion right now. Among Us. Top 500. Okay, so I can search but who's this Ted Gaming? There's one channel, Ted Gaming. There's only gaming moments. There's nearly all of the results are Ted Gaming. Is that an organization and not an actual person named Ted? Hey, and I make videos talking about, so searchability is back. Maybe I should consider it again. But then again, the last time I did anything on Dailymotion, they were letting everybody become partners. So discover best games Discover games best, new, something. Hey, and I make videos talking about my picks for best mobile games of all genres. So this, I spent latest gaming phones and accessories. So if you play games on Android or iOS, you'll find games worth playing here, guaranteed. So this is somebody who's making something that could look like commercial content. But hey, maybe the searchability's back. Cool. That'd be a nice step in the right direction for Dailymotion, considering they've gotten to the point where their featured content gets only 1,000 views. It's just, But that's, well, maybe somebody in charge over there is acknowledging that all commercial stuff doesn't work. You have to give people the ability to build up something, because that's what makes these sites special. Otherwise, you basically have Hulu. And how's Hulu doing these days? So, it's TV all over again. The reason why all this alternative media stuff became what it is because it was a break from TV. It was a break from all the commercial stuff. It was a break from good shows getting canceled because of some kind of bad ratings or ratings that weren't as good as something else that could go into the time slot. Or in the case of Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman, that now textbook example, the advertising was skewing too high in terms of the age versus disposable income. Not enough of an emphasis on the classic focus 18 to 34. But that's the thing. There needs to be this feeling that a nobody can become a somebody on these platforms, or all they are is just rehashed like streaming sites for television shows and stuff. And when you think about it, the fact that TV on platforms like Peacock and Pluto is now free with ads, it just goes to show the whole thing where information on the internet longs to be free. So yeah, what is success? Is it really numbers? How about these people recently that have had problems with their audiences? When I see these streamers having meltdowns in their streams, or they have an entire stream that's just gonna be a chill stream tonight. I just don't feel like streaming, but I'm here anyways. I want to talk about all my problems and crowdsource therapy to my audience when I'm a streamer making $2,000 out of donos or something. No, not even that. $2,000 a month is not the equivalent of a good job. Let's see here. Hi, I'm a streamer with 3,000 subscribers. Oh, no, let's do 5,000 subs. I have 5,000 subs on Twitch, times 2.5 if they're tier 1s. I make 12,500 a month, divided by 4, 31.25 a week, divided by 40, the equivalent of 78 and change an hour. Oh, yeah, but let me just not do a real stream tonight because I'm so bummed out because my life is so hard and I want a bunch of people scraping to pay the bills to throw me some sympathy because I'm a streamer and I deserve to have eyes on me just because I have a webcam. Boo! Yeah, give me a break. So yeah, success. Is it numbers? Is it having a bigger audience? Is it having a good audience? Is it having a supportive audience? What if you have some of the nicest people you've ever met that don't have any money, so they can't afford to sub to you in your audience? Is that good? Would you consider that good? Especially if you were inspired to stream by these people who look like they have it easy, when the truth of the matter is they just make it look easy. Learn something about what it takes for these big streamers to do anything. And how about the baggage that comes with streaming itself? Spending 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 hours a day in front of a camera instead of doing something passive like making YouTube videos. Oh yeah, you make the money up front when you're one of these successful streamers. And then what happens after 5 years of streaming? When you wonder what you could have done or built up if you'd made YouTube videos instead. When you learn about the strategy that I was talking about earlier that the smaller YouTubers have been using for years. Make a bunch of videos, not time sensitive, binge watchable. As you grow your catalog of things to watch, people find you and they watch and go on giant binge watching sprees. Because we live in the Netflix era, ladies and gentlemen. And you don't have to do a thing to make the money off the advertising for that. It'll be much smaller, but you don't have to do anything to get it every month. Grow thine stipend, so to speak, even if it's fun money, unless you're the size of PewDiePie. Yeah, sure, and when you want to stream, stream! See if you get any donos, or in this case, YouTube, super chats. Go for it! That's the thing, though. That's why I talk about the stream life crisis. I swear, it's one of these days we're going to be hearing all these streamers talk about taking extended breaks for mental health reasons, blah, 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 because they're finding out what they could have been doing with their time for the last several years. They've been a streamer. Yes, they've made a ton of money. They had to put in the work to do it, though, as opposed to, well, putting in the work to make videos. Versus, who cares about their VOD from November 12th, 2019? Because there's no other way to identify the content. And even if they try to chop up their VODs into YouTube videos, they don't work as well because you just can't do that with live content. It's like that analogy I often bring up with musicians. Imagine if musicians tried to pass off a chopped up live album as a studio album. It'd be like someone trying to sell bootleg tapes or something. Yeah, going back on the tape reference there. But someone records a concert bootleg. Hey, here's the new Taylor Swift album. Yeah, right. There's got to be no comparison between random dude recording with their phone when they weren't supposed to at the concert and now trying to sell it unauthorized. Can't do that. Copyright nonsense. Blah, legit copyright issue. Blah, blah, blah. Not even copyright nonsense, but legit copyright issue. And studio album mastered by people who put in the time and worked to get good at making audio sound good. And so they're really good at equipment and making things sound great. And if you've known any musicians who've ever done anything in a studio, nutty perfectionists. Trying to record a studio track for a hit song is a wonderful lesson in sounds good, do it again. Sounds good, do it again. Sounds good, do it again. So, yeah, are you really successful with larger numbers? Are you successful with a bigger audience instead of a good audience? Are you successful with an audience that doesn't have any money, but is really nice people who support you? That, by the way, I know that money is tough for a lot of people. I've experienced that firsthand. Stuck as a disposable temp for over a year, making so little money because there weren't any better jobs that I qualified for a lot of assistance programs that I've never qualified for that 1 year. But knowing that just wasn't workable. I could not survive like that. It would never work. I know what that feeling is like. When you're trying to do something and you have a track record of doing well, you even have a formal education, and nobody will give you a chance anywhere. So you're doing some Mickey Mouse job where nobody respects you. And every day you go home depressed, feeling like nothing you do matters anymore. How could I go from where I was before I was laid off to this? That classic Great Recession question that a lot of people who got slammed by it have asked themselves. How could I have gone from what I looked so hopeful and promising a year ago, and now I'm this? How could this have happened to me? I know what that feels like. That's one of the reasons why I go out of my way to set up free ways to support the channel and talk about don't ad block my videos. Hit skip. I hit skip. Just hit skip just like I do. I hit skip. But I at least know about some of the stuff that's being advertised. Liberty Mutual, Geico, Farmers Insurance, Totino's Pizza Rolls. Let's see here. Even like restaurants that don't exist in my area that do contactless delivery. They advertise on Twitch. So yes, I mean, the advertising worked. I know about these products and services. Whether I buy any is another story. But at least YouTube and Twitch get to somewhat pay their bills for the wonderful service they provide. Warts and all. Free videos, free streaming, free hosting, essentially. No situations where you have a video go viral and now either they cut off your video or you pay extra. Though there are still companies out there doing that, believe it or not. YouTube and Twitch, they're great services. They've done a lot to really let nobodies try to become somebodies and explore their creative interests in game streaming, making videos, artistic stuff, whatever. How about Instagram? Pictures. Yeah, a lot of Instagram filters and stuff, but all these picture sites encouraging people to explore the visual arts. Instagram, Imager, DeviantArt. these services have all done a great thing for, helping people express themselves and helping people experiment with stuff, maybe find things they want to go pro at. I say they deserve to be compensated for what they've built for society. But there you go. So yeah, don't ad block stuff. I am a Twitch affiliate now, so someone could sub to me on Twitch or use a Twitch Prime. If they're an Amazon person that doesn't care about Twitch, but they have Amazon Prime service, link the account, use the Twitch Prime. Use the Twitch Prime. You aren't going to use it anyways, and you get one every single month. Might as well. So yeah, I go digging for ways for people to support what I do for free. Not blocking ads and Twitch Prime are two of them. So that's really the thing. Because I know money is tight. Not going to be like these streamers that bellyache about stuff. Because I might have to get another job because the donos are terrible this month. Boo hoo 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 hoo. Yeah, whatever. What defines success? Hey, really? Is it numbers? Is it people? Is it having a good audience? Is it having a big audience? I mention this audience thing over and over again because many of the biggest meltdowns I've seen, and many of the biggest problem recordings, as it were, angry YouTube videos, angry Twitter posts, angry Instagram posts, have ties to some kind of demographics failure with that they did as a content creator. I think about this because yesterday I was reminded of just how lucrative sandbagging is on Twitch. Tyongi, not necessarily the biggest tech auntie in the world, Tyongi had a RAM stick go bad in her computer. And she obviously doesn't build her own systems to the point where she doesn't have to get ripped off by brown box shops. Where some genius decided to sell her a $1,000 plus gaming PC with, get this, those of you who build your own systems, you're going to love this. Generic green stick Samsung RAM, no heat spreader, no gaming stuff, no stuff with, that looks like it can handle extra heat from being overclocked. None of that. Green stick, regular Samsung RAM that was overclocked. Probably beyond its rated speed. I wonder why the RAM fried in like a year or two. She's over here like, oh, chat, what do I do? Hey, chat, do I do this? I don't want to break the computer. Da, da, da. And it's probably legit. But that's when all the people, all the nerds, and the word you're not supposed to say on Twitch. Oh, wait, this isn't Twitch. Simps. All the nerds and all the people with any amount of empathy. I don't want to make fun of people for having empathy, so I partially agree with the simp thing on Twitch. But here's the thing. All the nerds and all the folks that were like, oh, no, do this, hey, do that, hey, discharge static electricity by touching an unpainted metal surface, da-da-da-da-da. And they were just TTSing all over the place to the tune of $1 per TTS or maybe more. Some Oilers actually flexed their muscle by saying, here, auntie, buy a new computer. Boom. Big, huge 4-digit dono. Sad part is the dono, though. So we got to make sure that doesn't get charged back by some bozo that pulls that crap. Although there are internal payment services like SE Pay at Stream Elements that blacklist people that do too many chargebacks. Don't even let them dono. So the streaming world is catching up in this cat and mouse game. But it's not the first time I've seen this, though, where somebody does something badly on camera. They get picked apart by people TTSing all over the place, but they make money off of it. I think even without the Oilers being involved, who showed up during that stream, I think even without the Oilers being involved that showed up, just the donos alone from the cheers was probably enough to cover the cost of some RAM sticks. I lost count of how many TTSs there were, but you figure $100 for like a RAM kit or something for more 16 gig or something, not hard to do. Even with Twitch with a 70-30 cut or something like that. I think there was more than enough TTS to cover most, if not all, the cost just from cheers alone of the RAM that she needed for her computer and get something decent that actually is overclockable in a Ryzen system with heat spreaders. So I seriously think that sandbagging for profit is perfectly viable. But the thing is, if you have people who want to be toxic, they're not just they're not just poking fun at you. You have people that want to be toxic. Do you tolerate them? Because even if they're watching you just to make fun of you. And this is something I have to think about with, for example, Ginny and the meltdown she had a while back, and then wrote a big Google Doc thing to her Discord, talking about all thoughts about my community, blah, blah, blah. Look, I've had multiple situations with Ginny's audience, not going to say fan base. I've had multiple situations with Ginny's audience where they've done some kind of toxic behavior in response to me telling a joke in chat or telling a joke when cheering. I knew this stuff was going to happen. You have a situation here where she made the choice to have a bigger audience instead of a better audience, and she wound up crying about it. But hey, even when crying, it rolled in the donos. So people were cynically saying, well, she's just doing it now to make even more money. She's crying because all the simps will show up and blah, blah, blah. Very shrewd, but it might be a perfectly legitimate thing to do. Act like you're upset. Keep people trolling you because they spend money in order to insult you. And then you have Dexerto publishing an article where Pokimane tells somebody off who spent money to insult her, and she makes fun of them for spending money to insult her. Well, maybe she likes respect more than money in that case. So, but that's the thing. That's why I'm here. That's why this may sound like a discussion that's all over the place, but that's because it is. The point of all of this, success as a streamer is subjective. Is it about numbers? Is it not about numbers? Is it about having good people in your audience or not good people in your audience? Is it about having rich people or not so rich people? Is it about this? Is it about that? The thing is, it's so nebulous that we just got to really get our thinking caps in gear to think about all of this. Now, one of the things that got me thinking about this, though, is a little something we're going to link the web browser up for. Let's link up our web browser and finally get my mug off to the corner. The calculator is still open from that making fun of the whole streamer thing earlier. All right, Avast Secure, link it up to the Pokimane thing. The MultimediaJay Twitter, actually. Top 5 female streamers of the year. Source Stream Hatchet. Post from Dexerto. Shared this on Twitter earlier. Twitter.com/MultimediaJay. Heck, load this sucker in React mode. Will that work? Nope, I'm getting Firefox. I don't want Firefox. Bye, Firefox. Let's actually add Avast Secure here. And let's actually put this under React mode. Bring in Avast Secure. And let's just crop it down to just this graphic. Little something from Dexerto and Stream Hatchet, which I'm glad to see these numbers popping up, because that tells me there's some number crunching going on in Nerdville. There's some number crunching in Nerdville that's going on. I hope we see Streamlabs Stream Hatchet Q4 2020 sometime soon. Possibly this week. I would love to go over those numbers when I'm on vacation. Top 5 female streamers of the year, Dexerto and Stream Hatchet, Valkyrae and Pokimane, top of the list, but Ginny made it into the number 5 spot. Go Ginny. The ones in the middle, no idea. And I'm not really interested in folks who are more like, whiny college kids or whatever. I don't even know who Sad Dummy is or who that Pecora anime VTuber, blah, blah, blah. I only know the top 2 and the one on the bottom. But go Ginny. Here's the thing, though. Valkyrae and Pokimane. We can actually do this. We're in React mode. We can actually mouse over it if I click the window. So what the? I shrunk my OBS. Come on, man. How long have I been doing this? I should have this down by now. Valkyrae and Pokimane, they're like, let me just tell you this about Valkyrae. She's the YouTube streamer in terms of success story. I think the systems are propping her up. And she's getting a boost. Because she's been bragged about in terms of being a successful YouTube streamer this past year. But I'll tell you, if you follow YouTubers who also stream, you don't see anywhere near this amount of success with live stream with them. Not even PewDiePie. The way that streaming works on YouTube is that streaming is an extension of making videos. So there are far less ways for people to discover you through streaming. What they will do is they will find your videos, like you enough to sub, and then see the red radar symbol that you're live, and then catch your streams that way. But the part of the screen that shows people who are live on YouTube is way smaller than what it is on Twitch. So you have that kind of problem. Plus, you're recreating the same problem Twitch has, where it's biased towards the people at the top, because if you like any popular streamers whatsoever, they're always going to top the list, and you're always going to see them first. And anybody who's not like 5,000 concurrents or whatnot is going to get buried very, very quickly. And I curate who I follow on Twitch so that I don't see a lot of people sitting on top that I never watch. But who else does? The best thing for YouTube to do is for YouTube to allow people to explicitly browse live streams and then use the existing format of recommended streamers. So if you are searching, I still say YouTube, add a toggle switch for videos and streams, and you flip between the two just with one click. So you can flip over to streams and say, I want to see people streaming Rust, that game that's tearing up Twitch right now. I type Rust into the search box, and I see people streaming Rust, or Rust game into the search box, and I see people streaming Rust. I watch a stream, and my recommended is all live streams of people streaming Rust. If there aren't enough people to fill everything in, then I get videos. But that's the one UI thing that is holding streaming back on YouTube. And in the opposite direction, there are UI things that are holding back videos on Twitch related to the site's design. So this is why I'm open to the idea of Twitch being more of a YouTube competitor, even if the current brass doesn't want to do this, because the two platforms, purple and red, are basically inverse to each other. Twitch is very good at streaming, lousy with videos, but a couple of UI changes would improve that. YouTube is great with videos, lousy with streaming, but a couple of UI changes would improve that. Same exact problem in different directions on these competing platforms. Going back to the list. The Valkyrie, I think, is being boosted because she has been the example of success on YouTube as a streamer. I've seen Fwiz, for example, on Twitter saying really nice things about, oh, congratulations, blah, 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 blah. At the same time, though, there's some very popular creators on YouTube who can't pull any concurrence when they stream, even when streaming regularly. It is not uncommon for me to see somebody with 5-digit views per video get at the most like 20 concurrents. And this is not just YouTube specific. There have been celebrities, people that should be popular and be able to bring an audience with them, who started streaming on Twitch this year when the football leagues weren't playing, the baseball leagues weren't playing, sports teams were shut down, basketball wasn't doing anything, blah, blah, blah. So they started Twitch streaming instead, playing NBA games or whatever. Can't get any concurrence. So what happened with Valkyrie is an anomaly. Even PewDiePie, I've seen a huge difference between views and concurrence, and he's someone who streams regularly. So I think Valkyrie is an anomaly. Pokimane, on the other hand, yeah, we know she's been doing well on Twitch for a while now. But there's another element to what's going on with Valkyrie that I'm skeptical of, and that is she is tied in with Pokimane in terms of their roommates and blah, blah, blah. And I think the link with these two holds her back from advancing further on YouTube. Most of the streams that I've tuned into have been members only, and the first time, this is her first impression to me, by the way, the first time I tuned into any of her streams after hearing about how successful she was in an earlier version of this Stream Hatchet data, the first time I tuned into her stream in an earlier version of this Stream Hatchet data, why'd that resize to full? That's not, I didn't use React mode. Haha, there we go. Getting my scenes mixed up. I'm showing the web browser instead. Yeah, nice clean blue interface. But the first time that I tuned into her stream, I actually tuned in at a time when she was wrapping up the stream and she was complaining about people being toxic in chat because they were bashing Pokimane in her chat. Well, I guess future streams gotta have to be members only because people won't stop talking smack about my friends. I'm like, first impressions, hello. There's people that just saw you make the earlier version of this chart on Stream Hatchet and Dexerto. And now, this is what it looks like when people show up to your stream for the first time. Give me a break. But that drama actually is probably one of the things holding her back. if people tie her too close to Pokimane and her controversy, that's just less a reason to watch. I mean, you look back at this, make sure you click the right thing. So, here's the thing. This whole, I mentioned California streamers. I mentioned California streamers because a lot of these folks a lot of these big Twitch celebrities or whatever are based out of California somewhere. So, these top two, have issues that are the reason why I will watch other people instead of them. No idea who this is. Not so sure about watching someone who's really into anime or really a VTuber, because I've seen so many people who are into those things being highly dramatic, so pass. And then there's Ginny. So, I would rather watch her goof around in a kitchen trying to cook something that she has no idea how to cook and just laugh along with the jokes than people who get snotty with their audience. Or people who look like they might get snotty with their audience. Probably because I'm old. Probably because I'm more mature about a lot of stuff than I was when I was the age of a lot of these Zoomers and younger millennials who are streaming their little hearts out. But in the long run, are they really successful if they have incredibly toxic chat that keeps landing them in the news because they keep getting upset, having to take stream breaks and whatever because people won't stop bad-mouthing them? There was an issue along these lines with Lily Pichu as well, who's another streamer who got a little too antsy on Twitter, therefore I don't watch her. Did I ever share that on Twitter? I really should, because Lily Pichu actually got some very aggressive... Yeah, she's probably... Let's look up Lily Pichu under Google News. It's probably result numero uno. News. Lily Pichu and her mods harassed over Rust Twitch drops. Let's see here. Yeah, so I'm not seeing the most recent, but Esports will share this one. Lily Pichu and her mods were harassed because she took a day off from streaming. I want drops for Rust. You're not streaming. Da 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 da. Some of it got racist as well. Oh. But the thing is, there was some fanning the flames and flame baiting going on when she said, "You'll get your free stuff, kids. See you tomorrow." Not a good idea. I don't watch any of her stuff because she comes across as snooty. And there was an incident on Twitter where she got too snooty with randos, basically. So that ruined first impressions, which can often be final impressions, and therefore I don't watch. But again, we have to ask ourselves, in the context of all of this success stuff, is it successful to have an audience that is so toxic that they will say racist stuff to you because you didn't play Rust for a day and they didn't get Twitch drops when they could tune into other streams to get those drops? They don't even have to watch them. Hit mute site in your tabs on your tabbed browser, play a game or watch someone else's stream. If it interferes with your internet because your internet is slow, drop the drop stream down to 160p or whatever the lowest quality is for that one tab in your browser or whatever. Firefox lets you mute individual tabs. Chrome requires a special add-on because you only mute sites, not tabs. But there are ways to do that. So all of this uproar over Lily Pichu, ooh, she took a day off. Completely unnecessary. Sully Gnome, what is her 30-day? Lily Pichu, 30-day, please. I actually have to type it out because there's a lot of people whose names are just Lily and stuff like that. 12 grand for concurrence over the last 90 days on average. 14.8 over a 30-day. Big surprise. The big jump in her numbers is the Rust fad. She started playing. She was around like 10 to 20 thou. Then Rust became a thing. Boom! Streamer game. Just like what happened when Among Us first became popular. So now Rust is the up-and-coming. Why don't we just go to Twitch? Twitch.tv. Look in the directory. We're still in jumbo mode from the last time I displayed it on the TV. Oh, is it here? Let's mute this. Oh, it is muted on the site level. They got a music event going. Let's see here. Ginny's doing some experimental cooking with S-Fan. Let's reload it because I'm getting frames like it's 1999. Minx is still doing her stream and things like that. Let me just go to the category for games. Sort by viewers high to low, yes. Just chatting, 586 grand. Rust, 517 grand. Then it goes down to Call of Duty Warzone, 209 grand. Among Us, 180 grand. Who's playing Among Us out of the big streamers? Viewers high to low. Never heard of them, never heard of them. Oh, these are German streams. These are German streams and EU streams. Limit it to English. See, can I filter on Twitch anymore? Hello? English. All right, just click the tag and drop it down. No idea, no idea. Oh, train wrecks with 5 grand. Yeah, well, the biggest of the big are not playing Among Us anymore, so Among Us has sunk down quite a bit. Rust is the new streamer game. Who's playing Rust? Do the same thing. XQC. How many other these people do I know? Ryan Higa. Let's see. Getting down into the 1 grand. Some of these other folks haven't started playing yet, so I know there's a lot of other big streamers that are playing Rust right now and running that game into the ground. But I'll bet any money it's got to go the same route as Among Us. But the drama, I noticed the drama is starting up faster for Rust than it started up with Among Us in terms of Dexerto articles. But again, demographics. What if people are getting dramatic on purpose to manipulate Dexerto into writing articles about the drama, which draws people into the games? What if this is some kind of manipulation move to get more people watching the streams? Well, now. And here we are. We're in an environment where I want to respect these people, as creators. I want to feel like in some way that they're some sort of friend, even though they're not. I want these to be people I can trust, people I can watch, and I can't do that. Because I have to second guess literally everything they do. Because I don't know if it's sandbagging for donos, being manipulative to boost their concurrence, starting drama because there's no such thing as bad publicity. I can't know anything about whether any of what these people are doing is legit. Is that success? Is that what success looks like? And how about the thing that built YouTube? The human connections. The days when content creators weren't afraid to talk about each other or mention that there were other content creators out there who made videos. The days when there was more open dialogue between creators because they were just individuals carving out a place on the platform and interacting with other creators and other people that didn't make videos. So, what about that? This is the prime centerpiece of my views on the manipulation meta on YouTube. Wild and crazy thumbnails, playing games with tags, metadata. I don't like going to watch a YouTube video and somebody looks like they either can't stop bragging about themselves or they can't stop messing with other people's heads. If someone's too manipulative, I stop watching. And then they think that they're not doing good enough thumbnails, so they try to manipulate people even more when more people decide to think for themselves like I do. And they just get more and more upset, and it affects their content more and more, and they get wilder and wilder with the attempts to manipulate people. Well, how about you stop manipulating people? Is that what success looks like? Being able to manipulate the living daylights out of people to where nobody can trust you? Is that the definition of success on these platforms? Where have we gone? And if you spend years doing that, and people know that you've sandbagged for donos, that you've done things badly in order to fish for money, you've done all these other things, and people know you have these problems, and it damages your reputation outside of your little streaming fishbowl, is that what success looks like? Is any of this what success is supposed to look like? And if it is, why would anybody want to go for that? Do you really want to destroy your ability to have meaningful relationships with people for the rest of your life just for money? Do you really want to destroy your credibility and your reputation? Oh, but it's just acting. Is it? These are very hard questions that commentator after commentator after commentator is not talking about. By the way, no more purple. We're past 3 o'clock. But yeah. Success is like art. It's subjective. In many cases, with people bragging to me about how they're successful and I'm not, it's exactly the same as a narcissistic artist telling me that what they did is good, even if I don't agree with them. The truth is, art, it's all about a matter of personal taste. If somebody paints a painting or something that I don't really like, then that's the end of it. Doesn't mean it's bad, just means I don't like it. But have we gotten to the point where this is what success looks like, and this is what people want to drive for? Getting to the point where you can't relate to them anymore. You can't be civil to them anymore. You can't understand them anymore. You can't take them seriously anymore. All in the name of money. I will very gladly work regular jobs the rest of my life and not have to worry about paying the bills with content, that classic pitfall of full-time content creators, then fall into that trap. Like I said, stream life crisis. It's coming. Think the scene in the Wall Street movie. Bud Fox has made it big. He's sleeping with Darian Taylor, the gorgeous woman that Gordon Gekko hooked him up with. She's hollering at him on that rooftop scene in that old 80s movie. Hey, come to bed. And he's standing out on the balcony of his penthouse apartment in, I guess, New York City. Made all kinds of money, and he's staring into the darkness of the night, saying, "Who am I?" That's where these streamers are going to end up. They'll call it mental health issues. They'll call it some kind of crisis. They'll fish for sympathy, which might be fishing for donos in disguise. I hate to sound like a troll, but these kinds of manipulation tactics give these second-guessing trolls credibility. But that's it. What does success look like to you? Truly. As I mentioned in the title, and as we've been pointing to with our numerous examples that have gone all over the map throughout this discussion, success is subjective. And I think that the future of streaming, including the near future of streaming, is going to point this out more and more. Here's to hoping not too much more bad stuff happens while all of that is going on. That's our show. Till next time, this is MultimediaJay signing off. Thanks for stopping by.